good.
Thanks. Phil, well batted today. How would you sum up that innings of yours? You obviously started with a pretty good maiden over to you, and then as the innings progressed, you really got going.
Yeah, it was. Obviously Arshdeep's a very good bowler. I'm having a bit of trouble seeing the ball, if I'm being completely honest with you. It's, I think, the left arm angle and where the seats are underneath that side screen, and majority of the over being full, it's actually quite difficult in patches. But yeah, I suppose it gave me a few extra balls to sort of read the conditions and assess and communicate them. And then, once we got out the power play, fire a few shots back and get to a really good total.
Yeah, it was. It looked like a good total. Obviously, Trent Bridge has the reputation for being a fast-scoring ground, but it looked like you probably were ahead of the game a bit halfway.
Yeah, I think things have changed here in white ball cricket over the last few years. Pitches don't necessarily have the same look about them that they used to when they were, really good batting wickets. I think, we had a bit over par. I'd say 20 over par. Got to a really good total in the end. Yeah.
And then in the other innings, how happy was it to see Josh and Jofra turning up the heat and really putting their top order under a bit of pressure with some fast stuff?
Yeah, brilliant. And I think the way they executed the plans as well. We've been talking about the plans, not the easiest group of batters to bowl at, especially here at Trent Bridge, and what is a very friendly ground for left-handers. Seeing as 6 of their top 7 are lefties. I think they did really well to execute, and I'm really pleased for obviously Joff, but Tungi playing his second game to get 4 for and execute like that is really good signs for him. And
2-0 up with 2 to play against the world number ones, the world champions. How big of an achievement would it be to knock India off here?
Yeah, it would. I'm quite boring. I'll just say one game at a time, one ball at a time. I try and
one game at a time gets you there.
Yeah, exactly that. And hopefully we go to Bristol and put in a similar performance.
And we've seen obviously in Indian conditions they've really made life hard for England at various times. Do you feel like in English conditions you can really be that unbeatable team, that sort of best team in your own conditions here, and make life equally hard for teams coming over here?
I'd say so, with the way we're playing. Not necessarily just bat and ball, but the way we're assessing conditions, the way we're doing all the things that are required of you to be a top team. I feel like we're doing well at the moment. But as I said, the next 2 games are really important for us. James.
Hi Phil. Obviously with you playing IPL, you'd have seen a lot of their bowlers already, and presumably that gave you a bit of an advantage, possibly. But also Prince Yadav looked pretty good today. I wonder what you made of him.
Yeah, really good. Obviously had a standout IPL this year. I think he's a really good bowler. I think, one thing India's never short of is good cricketers. Every year there seems to be a load of different guys coming up out of nowhere and performing at the top level. Whichever 11 they choose to put out, whether it's first, second, third, fourth, fifth, it's going to be a good 11 of cricketers.
And you seem to be a bit frustrated with yourself early on. You think you shook it off in the end? Yeah,
part of being an opening batter in T20 cricket, especially when you're playing against sides like India, is getting off to a good start and putting them under pressure. Obviously our start wasn't electric. We didn't fly out the blocks, but that gave us time to assess and communicate what the surface was doing, what they were doing. Sometimes it works and it's easy. Sometimes you've got to fight a bit harder and find a different route into the game.
Can you remember playing out maiden first over before?
I reckon I've done it once before, and I reckon it was Sam Curran at Hove. So I reckon it's happened one other time. Matt Roller will have the answer to that.
Can you remember how you went after that over?
Yeah, I ended up getting 70 odd off 47 balls. Yeah, true story. Yeah.
So obviously you're famous you go half and ball one, but did you get a bit twitchy when six has gone by and you're still not out for 6?
Not twitchy as such, because I try and break it down as much as I can. I think it's definitely foreign territory in T20 cricket, the way the game's going. Being on the slower side of things, but as I said, it's so valuable as a batter to have that time to assess the conditions and to make sure that you're making smart decisions and mitigating risk to the best of your ability.
course, you weren't able to see the ball, though that's probably an excuse.
If you said excuse, I call it a reason.
Phil, just wanted to ask about the finger injury at the IPL. Were you ever in the mix to come back towards the end of that?
I was. The specialist gave us a timeline, and 6 weeks would have been the day of the final. I think it was probably going to be quite a big ask, to wait for it was a complete spiral fracture of whatever it's called, and they're not easy and they're not very straightforward breaks either. So it was always going to be a big ask to come back.
And just in terms of obviously not having played that much cricket in the build-up, does that make it that much more satisfying to contributing to a big win tonight?
Yeah, definitely. Anytime you put an England shirt on, you want to do well and you want to be the guy that puts the hand up. And that's sort of my thinking. I've not given it too much time. In fact, I've had a bit of time out. In my last game for RCB, I got a 50, and then a couple before that I got 50. So I was in relatively good form. So it's just about not trying to build up too quick to this and not being able to run before I can walk and just doing the basics really well. That's sort of where my head's been at.
Cool, we're done?
That's one more.
Yeah, Rory.
Yeah, just as an opening bat, how much are you sort of enjoying that battle between Jofra and Sooryavanshi? Like, Jofra's digging him in short and Sooryavanshi isn't going to back down. Are you watching that and enjoying it?
Yeah, Jeff's horrible enough to face, I know that. I've been doing it since I was about 11. So it's nice to see someone else get the treatment for a change, yeah.
And you're going to have 2 more games, you reckon Joff's going to go hard?
I hope so.
Thanks.
Last one. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Thank you.